Hey, hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, friends. Welcome back to our day 7 on SQL. So, first of all, our sincere apologies for the thing that has happened yesterday. Okay, so there is a kind of network issue. Anyways, we'll continue from where we have stopped. Excuse me. Right. So, we started with the topic clauses. Right. So, we understood what is SQL, okay, what is the purpose of learning SQL, who should learn SQL, then the 5 important languages, SQL languages has been, even we have got good amount of knowledge on SQL languages. Then we understood the different data types followed by operators, right? So all these topics were being clear. Right. The next topic that we have started is clauses. So what are these clauses? Clauses are actually, they are the core components of SQL queries. The reason is they provide some kind of instructions. Okay. So these clauses ensures that they provide instructions to the database system. Okay. So how do they help us? They help us to filter the data, sort the data, group the data, and also, to limit the data, right? So we understood where clause as well as order by clause. Where clause helps us to filter the data, and order by clause helps us to sort the data, right? So what kind of instructions are being given depends on the clause type that we use. I'll go back to MySQL Workbench. I hope everyone has started using MySQL Workbench because this is the ongoing trend. Okay, so majority of the interviewers they're expecting MySQL hands-on. So if you are well aware of MySQL, that would be really helpful when you start, you giving interviews. Anyways, so we started. We created a database, then we used it. The name of the database is store underscore inventory. Then we created a table called products inside this database. So table also has created. Once after the table are created, if you want to look at the columns, can we have the look at the columns? Yes. Just click on this arrow mark pointing towards right side. You'll get few more options. Okay, the first one is columns. Again, do the same. You'll get list of columns that are part of this table. Okay, so this is how we are going to get the columns list. If not, execute the select command, the select query, you will get the data anyhow. See, this or that, anyway, any of these two way, it works. Fine. So we created a table, it is products, and we also inserted some records. 10 records have been inserted. Okay, 10 different products, and each and every product belong to some category. Okay, the category of the product has been recorded with the price, quantity, and the date on which we have added this product to the table. Clear? Then we started understanding where clause. Where clause helps us to filter the data. Okay, where do we generally use where clause? Where clause is generally used in select commands, insert command, sorry, update command, and delete command. Will not use where clause in insert command, not required. Right? So in select command, update command, and delete command, we generally use where clause. Okay, that doesn't mean we'll not use where clause in rest of the queries. We'll also use where clause in other queries. We can use it in different indexes. Even on views. Yes, right. We had a combination of operator, clause. Okay, so all these were being understood. The primary purpose of using where clause is to filter the data. Clear. Next to where clause, we also understood order by clause. Am I right? Yes. So order by clause helps us to sort the data. Okay. So this order by clause, when in again, as it is helping us to sort the data, will it sort the data either in ascending or descending? By default, it does sorting in ascending. Okay. If you want to get the output in descending order, explicitly you are supposed to mention. Okay, you have to mention. But when you don't mention, it assumes or it by default goes with ascending order. MySQL. Okay, so you can sort the data based on one column, two columns, or n number of columns. Right? Yes. Again, you can sort using n number of columns by changing the order. Okay, you see here in line number 40, I'm trying to sort the data using two columns, but both of them I want in ascending order. So the first priority will be given to category. Okay, so out of all the categories, it starts from ascending order. Whichever category starts from A or B, if you go in that way, ascending order is nothing but small to big, right? So from A to Z, between these alphabets, if the category falls, yes. What if this category matches between two records? Then the priority goes to price. For these two records, what was the price value? Again, for price also, we have mentioned it as ascending order. So wherever it has observed the small value between these two records, that record will be given first. Yes, this is what we have understood. Clear. Then descending order, you can also change the order. You can use ascending order for one column and descending order for the other column. You can inverse it. Okay, everything can be done. Right. So till here we are clear till this part. So where clause, order by clause, no questions. I assume no questions because when you try to do it on multiple cases, probably a very small topic, right? So you can actually use it for more number of times. When you start doing it hands-on, you get a good amount of idea. Okay, how they are used, how we are able to get the output, map all these things. Yeah. Now let us go to the next topic. It's 1 minute. Excuse me. So the next clause that we have is order by is done, right? Group by clause. The next clause we have is group by clause. What does this group by clause does? This group by, you know, helps us to group the data. It helps us to group the data. So how? You know, uh, when you have different categories, for example, I take our same data set. Okay, if I want to know the records, or if I want to get only the data for sales department, is it possible? Yes. How? Use under this department sales, I mean under this department column, only go and look out for sales. Okay, group the data, use group by clause on department column where the value should be sales. Okay, So when you try to do this, yes, you can get the data only for that particular department. That is what we are trying to do. Okay, but whenever you are going to use group by class, we always use some kind of aggregation functions. Along with group by class, we always use some aggregation functions like count, sum, average, min, max, so on. There are n number of aggregation functions. Only a few has been listed here because rest of the functions we learn in the coming sessions. Okay, one by one, right? Yes. So we'll take some few examples, then we'll start our discussion. But before that, you see here we have the explanation for each and every aggregation function. Count function will return the count. It will count the number of rows for each and every group. Okay. Then sum function calculates the total sum. Okay. Average, it returns the mean. Min and max returns minimum value and maximum value in that group. Okay. So we'll try to use these functions as well as we move further. Okay. Right. I'll take the first query with respect to group by. Observe the syntax. Is it simple? Yes, it is. Because instead of getting the entire columns, I want only two columns. What are they? One is category. Okay. So for 5 seconds, ignore this part. Ignore this part. Okay. So we'll talk about the query first. Select. I'm using select query. Select command. Okay, select some columns have been here, ignore for time being. From table name, from products, what clause am I using? I'm using group by. Okay, I'm using group by on a column category. Okay, so it groups the records based on category. Okay, so I'll go here to the table. How many categories we have? Three different categories are available in the table. So when you run this, when you execute this query, this query ensures that the data will be grouped. Okay, based on which column? Category column. So obviously three different groups should be created. Okay. Then what you are expecting in the output is clearly written here. One is the category, whatever the categories that we have. Okay, so that should be written. Along with that, we are also using an aggregation function, that is count. When you say count star, it represents everything, the total. Okay, count the number of rows. Okay, and give an alias name to the column as total products. For each and every category, you'll get this count. So in simple, it is like under furniture category. Do we have furniture? Yes. Under furniture category, how many products do we have? We'll get the count. Under electronics category, how many products do we have? In the same way for the third one as well. So let me execute. See, three categories. Why did I get the category column? Because of, I have clearly mentioned here. And one, it's like a tip. Okay, keep it in mind. Whenever you are using group by for the column, on which column you are trying to use group by, ensure that this column is also present in select part. Okay, if I am performing group by on products, product column, ensure that product column is also part of select command, this select part. Okay, next to that column, you are supposed to come up with any of the aggregation function. Generally, aggregation function is generally used. Okay, along with this group data. I hope it's making sense. How many products do we have in each and every category can be understood like this. Akhil, why you are doing all these things? Anyhow, you have the data, just go and count them. Okay, friend, because I have 10 records, I can count. What if I have millions of records? Will I sit and count? No, right? It is a foolish thing that we do. No, will not sit and count. For that reason, you have to group the data using group by clause. Now we are able to map. So whatever we are learning, map it with the real world. Because in real world, you will not have 10 records. Probably you will have 10 million records. Am I right? Or 1 million record. Yes. Anyways, I hope it's making sense. Let us go back. I'll go to the next group by example. What am I doing? I'm again grouping the data using category column. So I'll ensure this category column is also present inside the select part. Okay, then what is the aggregation function that I'm using here? Average. But did I mention anything inside it? Yes. Average of price column. And I have to give an alias name to this column as average price. I hope it's making sense. So what happens is it takes furniture category records, all the three products under furniture category will be taken, and for these prices, okay, under furniture category for each and every product you'll have prices, right? So average of these three products that are under furniture category will be calculated and it will be given under this column average price. So electronics 800 plus 600 is 1400. Then 1400 plus 120, 1520. Then 900. So 2420 probably. Yes. By 4. 2420 by 4 is 605. So let's see. I have done a rough calculation. So for electronics, it should be 605. Am I right? Yes. Is it making sense? For each category, what is the average of price? Okay. So it takes all the products that are part of electronics 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 4 products are part of electronics category. Okay, for all these 4 products, the price will be added. Then it will be divided by 4 because you are calculating the average. You're not doing sum. Right? So this is the output. Making sense? So friends, if you have any kind of questions, if it is not clear, let me know. Probably I'll explain it one more time. Okay, so don't feel any kind of shy in asking your questions. Right. Group by is for grouping the data. Then we also have one more query with respect to group by. But if you see here, I'm only group by. I'm not only using group by. In this particular query, how many two clauses? What are the two clauses? One is where clause, followed by group by clause, followed by group by clause. So can we have n number of clauses in a query, in an SQL query? Yes, we can. So let us understand this. Anyhow, this is select part. Let us understand the clauses. The first clause says where price greater than 100. Okay. So initially the data gets filtered based on this condition. If the price is greater than 100, is it for all the cases? No. So this particular product will be filtered out. Only 9 records, you know, will be output of the first where clause. Then on those 9 records, the data gets grouped based on category column. Okay, based on category column, the rows gets grouped, the data gets grouped, and what you are expecting in the output? In the output, you know, you are going to have the category and the sum of quantity. So let me know this output. I want you guys to try this and tell me what is the explanation for it. So what we are doing, what is the aggregation function that we are using? Sum function, right? Then respond. Anyways, see, we are trying to sum up the values of quantity. Okay, we are going to sum up the values of quantity. Correct. So let me execute it. Number of categories are 3. Okay, and the quantity for each and every category is also summed up. Clear? So very simple, friends. It's not that much tough, or it's not an big query. We need not take much amount of time. See, initially this particular part helps us to filter the data. Then the data gets grouped based on category column. Once the data got grouped based on category column, in the output it will return us the categories and the sum of quantity with respect to each and every category. That's it. So this is an understanding with respect to group by, which helps us to group the data, right? Yes. But have you ever, or did you got this particular question? Can we, you know, I'll do one thing. I'll remove this here. Probably I'll remove it here. Then I'll try to add after group by. See what is the difference between the previous one and the current one is, in the previous case, in the previous query, we have initially where clause followed by the group by clause. But what if I change the positions? If I have group by first followed by where clause, what is the message it is going to give me? Let me execute. Let me see what happens. I'll get an error. The error says you have an error in your SQL syntax. In the syntax, we have an error. So what does that mean? Does it mean can I not use where clause in this particular place? Yes. So what exactly that it means is, or we have a question. Can't we filter the data which is grouped, because group by is actually grouping the data. Okay, so I'm after grouping the data, I try to filter it using where clause. Can't I do it? We can do it, but not using where clause. So this is a very important question with respect to interviews under clauses. See, whenever you are trying to perform filtering action on the grouped data, you cannot use where clause. Okay, what is a clause that can be used? It is having. It is having the next clause in the topic. This particular having clause is used to filter the data, but only the grouped data. So instead of going with where clause, if you use having, it works. That makes the difference. Okay, so what do we understand from this particular query is, I cannot use a where clause after group by. I can only use where clause before group by. Okay, that is one important point to be noted. Then what clause should be used to filter the group data is having clause. Simple. So let me go and use having clause. Probably this time, it will be clear for you. Is it the same? Yes. Select command followed by group by clause. I'm grouping the records based on category. I'm grouping the data based on category column. Then on the grouped data, I'm going to have a condition for filtering the grouped data using having clause. Do you see any kind of cross mark like line number 51? No. Why? Because I can have having clause next to group by. Having clause is designed to filter the group data. Okay, so what is the condition that you see here? The condition says only if the count of this group data is greater than 2, okay, have it in the output. If not, filter them. Okay, so probably I'll execute, then I'll explain. Shall we get 3? Yes, we'll get 3. The reason is, in all the 3 cases, after grouping, you'll get the count, right? Because we are using this count star as part of the select part, so you'll have it in the output. But is it meeting the condition of having? Yes, the count of records under each and every category is greater than 2. Okay, I will make it 3. Sure. Now this time, will I get all the 3 records? Will I get all the 3 categories? Tell me, friends. Will I get electronics, furniture and appliances? Or what category will I get? We'll get only one category. It is electronics. The reason is, in the previous case, the condition is met for all the 3. But here, the condition is met only for electronics. If you see, the records under electronics are 4. So if the count is greater than 3, only then it should be returned in the output. If not, wherever the condition is not met, those will be excluded from the output. Got it? Yes. I'll take one more example using both. So again, we have group by, then having. So try to explain, understand first of all. Grouping based on category column. Then what is the condition? The condition says, if for any of the category, okay, If the average of price is greater than 500, only those categories and their average price to be written in the output. Let's see what are those categories where we have the average of price greater than 500. Is it only one? Yes. The reason is in rest of the two categories, you know, the average of price is not greater than 500. No. For only electronics, it is 605. The condition is met, it has written in the output. Understood? So don't assume that we are actually, working on small data when we are learning. It's better if you do on simple things, a small data set. You can grab the concept immediately. Try to use or try to do hands-on on big data sets, because in real world in the industry no one will have a data set of 10 records, millions, millions of records, right? So start hands on, right? Next to, okay, we also have an example. So probably this will, give us good amount of understanding. So what is the difference between the previous one and this one? In the previous one, we just have two clauses, group by and having, but the current one has three clauses. This one has three clauses: where clause, group by clause, having clause. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. It is possible. So, when you try to understand these kind of queries, you'll also understand the order of clauses. What, this is an important question in interviews with respect to clauses topic. What is a order of clauses? Where clause followed by group by, then followed by having. So let us understand it. Initially, where clause executes, I mean this particular part comes into the picture first. So the data gets filtered based on this condition. We know that there is only one product where the price is less than 100. So when this particular part, executes, it filters only 9 products, that is 9 records. Then the data will be grouped based on category column. Okay. Next to it, we have the third clause having, where, the average of price, if it is greater than 500, only then, that particular category should be written. Let's see, will electronics be part of the output or not? It is. It is. Got it? So why did we get appliances is the question. Just give me a minute. This particular one gets ruled out. Acha, am I taking price? Average of price? Okay. So friends, what happened is, when where clause executes, this particular record, row number 10 will be uh, ignored. We'll have only total 9. Out of these 9, anyhow, we know that the average of electronics is 605. So for sure we'll have electronics. Then why did we get appliances is, previously, because of the 10th record, the value which we have is very less. That is actually reducing the average. But in this case, since we don't have this particular record, which is getting filtered because of where clause, so 1000 plus 300 by 2 will be the answer. So it is 1300 by 2, 650. So that is the reason we also have the second category in the picture. Okay, don't assume that the output is wrong. It is correct. Is it making sense? Yes. Let us also use more clauses in the same query, SQL query, but there are few more clauses to understand. So we'll go on. So here are some of the questions that can be asked. See, very important question. Difference between where and having clause. Where clause filters the rows before grouping, and having clause filters the group data. So after grouping. So this is the main difference between where and having clause. Okay, just make a note of it. Right. So we are done with the four important clauses. One is where, next is order by, third one is group by, and the fourth one is having clause. Right. Now we have limit clause coming into the picture. What does this limit clause exactly does? Limit clause helps us to restrict the number of records. Okay, when you are executing a query, okay, and if you want to restrict some records, only these number of records I would like to have, then you go and use limit clause, isn't it? Yes. First of all, when we generally use limit clause is, when you are working on large data sets, probably say millions of records. When you would like to go through your data, would you like to go through all the 1 million records? Not exactly. Probably if I go through 10 or 50 um, rows, that is more than enough. Yes, I can understand some part of data. But if I go through 1 million of records, it doesn't make any sense. First of all, it kills our time. How many years will it go through 1 million of records? Not required. So, in order to limit, in order to restrict the number of records, we go and use limit clause. So let us, take an example of limit clause. The syntax is very simple. Select command. So select star from products will fetch the entire data. So this particular part will return me all the 10 records. Okay, I'm talking about our example because we have 10 records. This will return me all the 10 records, but I don't want to have a look on all the 10 records. I'm interested only in the top 5. Limit them to 5. That is enough. That is what I'm clearly mentioning. Okay, so when I say limit 5, it returns only the top 5 records. See, I'll go through, okay, I see ID, I see name, category, price, quantity, and date. Probably I can get some good amount of, an idea about the data. Yes. So in this way, limit clause helps us to restrict the number of rows. Yes. Then next to limit clause, I think there are few more examples, but this time we are supposed to involve. So from here onwards, we'll try to include more than one clause in the query. What are we doing in this line number 64? What are we doing in this SQL query? I'm ordering the data using price column followed by, okay, in which order? In descending order. Then I would like to get only the top 3. Enough. So the question for this is, when you have your product table, when you have your actual products, if you are going to sell some millions of products, or say if you are actually selling some thousands of products, I am asking you to write a query, okay, to give me the top 3 products which have high price. Okay, so this will be the answer. Why? Because if you see here, the top 3 products with respect to price can be done using this part. Yes, I mean, the top products using price, but only 3 can be done using limit part. So that is the difference. So this particular order by clause will order the data, will sort the data in descending order based on price column. So you'll get the product which is high in value to the low in value. Then will I get all the 10 products? No, only the top 3. So let us see what are the top 3 products with respect to price. Only these: refrigerator, television, laptop. Okay, don't assume these are the real prices, some dummy prices. Okay, right, understood. Excuse me. Then, in the same way, probably this one, same query, but I'm changing the order. Again, when I'm going through this query, I can understand one thing. Okay, between order by and limit, what is the sequence? What is the order of execution? The order of execution is first order by followed by limit. Can I have limit here at this position? No. You are violating the syntax. It does not accept, right? So this will give us the you know basic or the small price products, the top 4. See, blender, wireless headphones, office chair, and desk. Simple. Then let us also work on few more examples. Probably this time I have where clause coming into the picture. So again I can understand one point. Only after where clause I can have limit. See, it's not like understanding the output, also understand the queries. Okay, syntaxes are important. How are the orders with respect to the clauses being executed? This is very important. Okay, I'll talk about the order of sequence with respect to the clauses at the last. Let us understand this query. Where the category is electronics, so this will ensure that the data gets filtered, okay, based on this condition. Then it limits to only 2 records. Only 2 records. See. Clear? So in electronics category, the top 2 records were being written. Then one more, but this time, oh my god, how many do you have? Again, I have 3. Group by having limit. The same, till here it is same. I mean, so far we have understood the combination of group by and having clause, but additionally we have added limit clause. Okay, so instead of 3 categories, the top 2 categories only will be written, friends. That's it. Limit 2, right? So only the 2 top categories will be written. That's it. Got it? Yes. Then this is something different because for the first time we are going to use distinct keyword. What is this distinct written? This distinct will return only the unique values under category. See, I can keep it as select category from products. Okay, if I remove category, if I remove distinct, what will be the output, friends? I can also get the duplicates of categories. Okay, from this table products, the top 3 rows, from the top 3 rows, because I'm limiting to 3, whatever the categories values are will be written. So what will be the output? Furniture, okay. Electronics, furniture. So this will ensure, duplicates might be written, but Okay, anyways. This will ensure, you know, hmm, distinct categories. Right. So this will ensure that duplicates will not be written. Distinct. Only the unique values under the category column should be written. Only the top three. Anyhow, we have three. So those three will be written. But if I don't use distinct, we'll get duplicates, because in the top three records we have electronics, electronics, and furniture. If you want me to try it, yes. See. So distinct keyword helps us to return only the unique values. Anyways, we'll talk about them in the coming classes, coming sessions. So I hope we are, you know, clear on this part about limit clause. Next to limit clause, we have offset clause. What does this offset does? This offset clause is used as a conjunction with the limit clause. Okay, it is used with the limit clause. This will helps us to, this particular offset will help us to skip the records, which are at the starting position. So I'll just give an example. If I want to see, there is an employees table. Okay, assume I'm running an organization, and I have all my employees details. Okay, if I ask you to write an SQL query to get the employee details, okay, who is being paid the highest, what shall we do? We'll generally use limit clause, right? So limit one, okay, so we'll ensure that it returns only the first person, okay, the first employee who is being paid the highest. But what if I ask you the same question but not the highest person? I want the second highest only. I don't want the first highest. I want only the second highest. Okay. If I want both 1 and 2, obviously I can make limit clause as limit 2. So I'll get the first being the one who is being paid the highest, and the one who is being paid the second highest, both together. But what if I want only the second paid, the guy who is being paid the second highest? In this case, limit clause alone does not help us. We should also go and use offset. This offset helps us to skip rows. The rows get skipped with the help of offset. How? I'll explain. So you see, this is a small syntax. We have a query here. Till this part we are aware that this will ensure it returns only the top 5 rows. But offset 5 means, it skips the starting 5. This will ensure to skip the first 5, then it again returns the next 5. Okay, so instead of getting the first 5 records, we'll get the next 5 records. See, what happened to 1 to 5 records? They got skipped because of offset clause. Okay, so in the same way, there are few more examples. See, what if you don't mention offset? Will it execute? Either you can mention it like this, or you can also mention in this way. Okay, even though if you don't mention offset, MySQL understands. This is only possible in MySQL, I believe. Okay, not in other RDBMS systems. Okay, even though if you don't mention offset clause, this particular keyword, this number and the comma will be understood, and it has to return the output. What will be the output for this particular query? By considering our data, tell me the output for line number 77. How many records will be given as output? I'll give you some time. Think and tell me what is the number of records that will be returned. Come on, friends. How many records will be returned? Okay, I'll make it simple. What is the value that limit has? What is the value that limit takes in this query? Don't sit idle. Respond. The value that limit takes is 10. Then offset takes is 10. So offset 10 means, skip the first 10 records. Then limit 10 means the next 10 records should be given as output. First of all, do we have 20 records in the data? No. We have only 10 records. Okay. If the first 10 records got skipped by offset, so how many records should it return? Excuse me. It will return nothing. Okay. It will return nothing because there is no data inside the table. Done. Then next example, I'm using 3 clauses at a time. I'm ordering the data based on price column. Okay. Performing order by clause based on price column. Okay. But in which order? Descending order. Offset 3. So the first 3, uh, records will be skipped, and the next 5 records will be returned. Limit 5. So see. So these are the records that we have as output for this query. Are they 5? Yes. Why are they 5? Because we have kept limit to 5. This will ensure that only those many number of records should be given as output. Offset ensures that those many number of records should be skipped. Okay. Good. So answer this question. Understand the same. I used where clause to filter the data based on electronics. Then out of these categories, uh, it is going to skip the first two records. Then it limits to 5. Anyways, we know that under electronics there are only 4 records. So out of 4, 2 will be skipped. So how many records you can have under output? You'll have only under the output 2 records. Only 2. The rest of the 2. Okay, simple. Right. Last example with respect to limit. This time I am bringing group by and halving into the picture. So the same, But how many clauses? Four. Group by having, limit, offset. Okay. So you see the order. So what happens? Initially, it groups the data based on category. Next, once after grouping the data based on category, it checks if the products, okay, if the number of records under each and every category, if there are greater than two, yes. In each and every category, we have greater than two, two products, yes. Okay, then limit them to five. Okay, the first, anyhow, we have three categories, but offset one. So the electronics category will be skipped and we'll have only the other two categories. So sorry, it's not based on one column, right? So it is taking the total products. Clear? Yes. And finally, the last point that I would like to conclude this SQL clauses is taking all the clauses, okay, in a single SQL statement where we are not using group by and having, but I'm using the rest of the four clauses. So in total today we have understood four clauses, and in the previous session we understood two clauses. I'll come from the starting. We understood where clause. Where clause is used to filter the data. Next to where clause, we understood order by clause. Order by clause helps us to sort the data either in ascending or descending order. Okay, by default it performs in ascending order. Next to order by, we understood group by. Okay, so group by helps us to group the data. Okay, uh, ensure for group by whenever you are using group by, whatever the column that you are working, you're grouping the data, ensure that this column is also present in the select part, okay, along with an aggregation function aggregate function. Then in order to apply a filter on the grouped data, we understood having clause. Okay, in order to fix the number of records, we understood limit clause, and in order to skip the records, we understood offset clause. The six clauses. But the general question that you get: what is the order of execution for the clauses? Is initially the first one will be where clause. The first one will be where clause. Next to where clause we'll have group by. Next to group by we'll have having. Then order by, limit, and offset. Okay, so that's how the order executes. Now, if you understand this query, we'll try to understand this query as well, and then we'll conclude the session. Initially, the data gets filtered based on the category electronics. So only the products which are part of electronics will be filtered out. Then for these four records that are part of electronics category, based on the price column, the records get ordered, okay, in descending order from big to small. Then these records should be limited to two. Out of two, the first one should be skipped. Okay, so what we are going to get? We are going to get the output. The record, the product under the electronic category, which has the second highest price. We'll get the product name, the category, the price, and the quantity. Let's see. Yes. So limit two, right? Yes. So two records, and the first one will be skipped. My bad. Out of the entire data, we have four products that are part of electronics. Okay, there are four products, and in these four products, how many you are going to skip? Initially, one. The first one will be skipped. Why? Because of offset. Then, out of next three, how many are going to limit? Only two. So these are the next two. The second highest and the third highest with respect to electronics category, friends. Okay, right. No, you can also make these queries. You can include having clause, group by clause. Whenever you are using group by, and if you want to apply a filter on the group data, for sure you have to include having, right? So you can also have all the clauses in a single statement, that is in single query. Right. So I'll take up your questions because we have successfully, completed topic SQL clauses. Okay. So we'll take our discussion a bit further in the coming session on the next topic. But before that, it's time for our questions. Yes. So friends, before you leave, you know, we have some kind of right. So we have an important notice. Okay. So this particular on the next Saturday we are going to start free internship programs. Okay, with respect to data analytics, data science, and artificial intelligence. Whoever is interested in joining this particular program, ensure that you complete your registration. Okay, and in the next week we are going to start sessions on machine learning. Okay, parallelly the sessions will be conducted for machine learning, both classification and the regression algorithms. Next to machine learning, we'll have the sessions on deep learning, that is neural networks. Okay, then uh, NLP, natural language program processing, then computer vision, and finally Gen AI. Okay, this is the order. Anyways, you'll get the updates within 1 2 days. Okay, but be active in the groups, and whatever you feel that is your area of interest, do complete your registrations. Okay, so the registration link has been provided. I mean, sorry, the feedback link has been provided. Ensure you can give your valuable feedback before you leave. And if you feel these sessions are very great, just hit on the like button and do share across your connections. Yep. So utilize these sessions in a right way, friends, and also share across your connections. Okay. Right. I feel we are done. Anyways, so so that's all for the day. In the next session, we'll come up with new topic. Until then, do some hands-on. Okay. So practice on different data sets and whatever topics we have covered so far. We'll meet in the next session. Until then, take care. Have a great day. Signing off.